have a very, very special guest with me in the studio. We've been saying that in fact, we've been trying to make this happen for a while now, but finally he's around in town, and yes, we're making it happen. Make some noise for the one and only DAP the Contract.
What's good, Lagos?
Yes, man. DAP.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Yes, it's a pleasure. You know, as I said, it's been a long time coming, and we're just glad that we can make it happen today.
Yeah, man.
How are you feeling?
Good. Happy to be home.
Good. Where did you fly from, first of all?
Man, from New York. I say New York, but really New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Recently relocated to New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that
US.
after the marriage?
You understand?
Okay. That's good. Big congratulations to you on that. You know, you're making that look amazing, by the way. So you're a big motivation
I
to
appreciate it. Shout out to Ray.
Yes, big shout out to Ray. I was good. In fact, I'm gonna go into that a bit later. But yes, so we're talking about your brand new record titled Faaji.
Faaji.
Yes, you know,
featuring Sute Iwa.
Yes, so it's a big record. You know, for me, I was even hoping that, like, honestly, I wish it came out in the summer because it's the energy is just so, you know, eclectic, if you can call it that. But anyways, we'll talk more about that. So what really inspired you to collaborate with Sute on this brand new record, Faaji?
Yeah, but this has been long overdue, to be honest. We've known about each other for like almost 10 years, I'd say, maybe even longer. I kind of been following each other's paths as we've gone along, and I've always known that at some point we'll have to connect and work on something. But we share a contact, like my distributor is connected to him and his team. So I sent my distributor this track, and he was like, yo, I think I know the person that needs to be on this. And it was perfect time. It was already been meaning to work on something. But the sound of this track itself is kind of inspired by, you know, part of the reason why it was important for me to be home at this time was trying to reconnect or kind of reconfigure my approach to my music. I think when people used to ask me, what's your sound? It was kind of like hip-hop fusion first. You know, I'm Nigerian, of course. I'm a classical pianist. So there was a fusion of a different sounds in there, but I felt like the bedrock was always hip-hop. But I'm trying to kind of reconfigure that to make sure that the perspective is primarily Nigerian music. You know, whether it's modern or older. This was a song more inspired by High Life, I would say, especially the horns and the hook and stuff. So it was kind of tapping into that energy. And there's a bunch more of that where this came from, you know, but this was kind of like a taster, and I'm trying to go there slowly. So the fusion is still going on, but I'm trying to lean more into that. So that's what kind of made the sound come together.
So this is almost like it's almost like cooking. It's like food, basically. You were cooking, and this is the dish that has been served. And, you know, it's going, to be honest. That's what we see here. It is going. Otilo. Anyway, so can you walk us through your, you know, on this record, your creative process on this record? Were you and Sute in the same place? Did you guys meet up in the studio, or it was one of those?
It was one of them ones. Digital. I wish we were in the same place, but interestingly enough, so we actually never met. Like we've known of each other for this long. We'd never met. I don't think we'd ever spoken, even on social media or anything.
Wow.
But fortunately, he happened to be in New York like right after I dropped the song, so we got to actually do a launch party for the song together. We met like at the launch party, which is crazy, you know. But in terms of the creative process, it was one of those like emailing back and forth. But I kind of knew how I wanted the song to be structured, so you kind of hear us referencing each other and each other's verses, and that was intentional. But in terms of the fusion, that was a big part of this because I was kind of pulling from. I wanted the different elements I was pulling from to be represented very clearly. That makes sense. So like, there's themes like, do my ladies run this mother? That's like a hip hop thing. That's like part of hip hop history. So I wanted that to be represented there. And then there's songs like, all the girls, you feel me? That so there was a way of like trying to make it seem familiar for each demographic, if you will, that I was speaking to, while still seeming new, because the sound is still new. There's the log drum is in there, you know, from the I'm a piano sound. So it was kind of bringing all these things together, but I wanted them to kind of be very identifiable, even though I think people might hear this and this will be the first time they realize, oh, that's why that sounded like I'd felt it before somewhere, you know. So that's kind of how I pieced it together. And so when I sent it to him, I was like, I kind of explained, look, this is kind of what I'm getting at, but I wanted to bring he has like a UK flavor about the way he raps too, you know. So I wanted to kind of tap into that energy as well, and that kind of brought it together. And then we just kind of referenced the same the same sources.
Okay, see when you say artists way go that went to intentionality, you know, my head was just busted. And to be honest, I was also going to say that Sute is really chilled. So, you know, in this little industry, in this life, I've actually managed Sute before,
That's
you know, for
crazy.
like a very short spell of time, like 6 months or like a year or so. You know, we actually worked together because I'm a huge fan. You know, so you and him, I can just see that the energy would literally just gel because you're both really chilled.
He's the kind of person you'd have connected us.
Yeah,
those times, for
definitely.
Sure.
You know, so I'm pretty excited about that. But so how do you hope Faaji would resonate with your fans and your new listeners? Because this is definitely gonna grab a few people.
Yeah. It's always interesting trying to reintroduce myself over and over again, especially when I've dabbled in so many different sounds. So it's like, sometimes it feels like constantly reintroducing myself to multiple markets at the same time. You know, like this song maybe is leaning on this side, so I'm kind of doing it again here, and this is another thing. So people will meet me and they'll be like, oh, I love this song from you. Like, oh, this your sound is really dope. You got to keep going with this sound. I'm like, little do they know that there's 7 different personalities or, you know, sounds that I'm trying to play with. So, but I think how I want it to resonate is, that's when I was just having a conversation about this with another artist, like,
Name drop.
Yeah, his artist name is Rookie. We actually just met as well. Someone introduced us in the UK. He's based in the UK. But he sent me a song that I loved. I'm going to get on. But we're talking about how there's this thing we have with being so different but so similar. And by we, I mean, you know, there's Nigerians at home in Nigeria. Then there's some of us who went to school abroad or wherever, and maybe in the UK or somewhere in Europe or even Dubai or something, or even South Africa, for that matter. And then there's some of us that went to the US. And there's this thing where wherever we are, we look at another place like it's so unfamiliar and so different. But we're always closer than we think. So that's kind of why I wanted to have these pieces be so identifiable. So each station can feel like this is their jam in a sense. You know, they kind of understand where it's coming from, which is to come full circle. That's why it's been difficult at times to try and have an identifiable sound. That's one thing, you know, when part of what I love about music is playing around, you know. So I think that's what I want people to take from it. Like, even if there's different elements or different inspirations in one song, it still can feel like it's yours. And so when people meet me and say, oh, that your jam fat, I like that, it's like I'm hearing the same thing over here and the same thing over here and the same thing over here. And that's how I'm trying to triangulate the sound like that.
I like that. That is, you know, as far as it goes back to the intentionality of everything, just trying to make sure that everything is a bit definite, and I like to call it organized madness. You know, there's the creativeness, but everything is just in a controlled space. So that's
how I like you said that, because that's how I create. Like, I work on like 4 songs at a time. Because for whatever reason, maybe it's our generation, maybe it's attention span, I don't know, maybe it's overstimulation, but something about like my brain working in multiple facets at once helps me. It makes more sense than if I have to sit and do one thing. I get bored quickly, you know. So organized chaos definitely makes sense to me.
Organized chaos, you know. So that's it. So another thing I was going to ask is, what do you enjoy? What did you enjoy most about working with Sute? And not just Sute, I know that you have a lot of really fire collaborations. I know Elena, Pinder Hughes, you have Daila. Sorry, excuse my French. You know, so I know you have loads of collaborations. So what is it that you enjoy the most about collaborating with other artists?
I think when we can find common ground is something outside of music is really interesting. Like because it's easier to send a song and ask for a verse and get something back and it sticks to the song. But when you get to communicate and actually find, like, you may think, like, for example, people will send an artist a beat that they think is in their world, you know, from what they've seen, but you're only seeing what they've allowed everyone else to see. You know, but when you have a conversation, you start to realize, oh, I didn't know that you liked that. I didn't know you, like, take anime, for example. I didn't know you liked anime. I didn't know you liked this thing. I didn't know you were a football head. Like, people wouldn't know that I love football as much as music, as most Nigerians do, you know?
Right.
But things like that, I think, is what make the collaboration more intentional, but more there's more weight to it.
Okay.
And so with Sute, like, I didn't necessarily know how he would approach the song because he's also versatile and he can do different things. And check out Escapism, that new single that he also just put out, you know?
That's fire.
So something for that, for example, like hearing that song, because what I like to do when I collaborate with people is I say, send me what you're working on at the moment, whether it's a project, collaboration with other people, so I can get context to just where your mind is at right now. Okay. So with him, like, we were in a similar space in terms of tempo. Like, this is a kind of mid-tempo track, but we were both in an up-tempo pace, like Escapism is. Like, Can You Hear Me with Dayela that you mentioned, you know? So being able to identify outside of whatever particular song we're working on, I think helps the song get better and helps further collaborations, you know, that much more intentional and there's more depth in them.
Okay. Look, this interview is just giving, this is the gift that keeps giving. DAP, in fact, it's just, the whole thing is just flowing like the River Niger.
This is because of you. You already know how I feel about you. I don't know if I need to say it on radio, but this is my guy, and it's been my guy from a fan standpoint too. Just watching you work, like, this is more than a pleasure, man.
DAP, we're talking about the brand new record, Faaji, and of course, he's not alone on that record. He's with Sute Iwa and they're doing bits and bobs. I don't know if you've heard it, but if you haven't heard it, we're going to premiere it on the show, in fact, the next few minutes. But we're going to round up with the interview, and I just have a few more questions. In fact, we have a few guests that have been listening that sent in a few questions, so I'm going to ask their questions. This is Sixtus from Adejuwon Street in Ayodele. I believe that's in Surulere. So he's asking, what is your favorite moment in your career right now? What's been your favorite moment? Very broad.
Wow.
Yes.
Questions like that, like the Rolodex just start running in your brain. My favorite moment.
You can give us two.
Okay, because the first one I was going to say was the first time my song was played right on Beat FM.
Oh, wow.
This is the first station. I'm not even gassing anybody. This is the first time my song was played on the radio anywhere, period. And it was a song called Special, featuring Aje Butter. This must have been like 2017 or 18 or something like that. So that was a special moment because that's a bucket list thing for artists coming up. But the second moment, you know what? Performing is my favorite thing about making music. So usually I would say a show, but I've been thinking about this moment more recently. I'm going to say going to Abbey Road Studios and recording with Mark Ronson. And that was a while ago. That was in 2015. But I think that moment changed the way I approached my career, just from small things that Mark was saying to me in the studio, and then being in that studio and knowing the history of all the music that's been made there. But the main takeaway from it was that it made me realize that I can hang in those rooms, because it's a very daunting thing. I'd never done anything like that. I was in the studio. I was flown to Abbey Road Studio from college before I took the LSAT, like the law school entrance exam, the week before, studying for the exam in the middle of it. What? And my only thing was, I don't care about the documentary, the film, or whatever. Or I want to leave here with good music. And so I kind of put that extra pressure on myself, but I was proud of the way I handled that situation. So I would say those two.
Those are two. In fact, those are two very golden moments. And that Abbey Road moment, I remember back then. I think I think I was literally just moving back to Niger from after my masters, and I was just like, this guy is something else, because if there was anybody that deserved that kind of exposure and that opportunity, I would call it would have been you.
Appreciate
so
that.
Yes, a big large up.
Thank you for that question. 6'2", Abi. 6'2" is the name?
Yeah, Sixtus. Yes,
6'2". I appreciate that.
What else? Okay, and he says, describe yourself in three words. Let's do 3 words, not 3 sentences. Three words. Yeah.
I hate that this is the first one I'm going to say because I feel like it bites me sometimes, but humble. It's funny saying that as a rapper, but sometimes you can't be like that in this industry, but it's still a fact that I wear proudly, ironically enough. So humble, I would say intentional.
Play on words.
Intentional. Like my attention to detail, that's very important to me. Like I like to know, that's probably from my classical piano training. It's like learning the rules to be able to break them and know what you're doing. And the third one, I'll say patient, because there are a lot of times I could have jumped, without the information I probably wanted, or without, the belief in myself and what I wanted to do and where I wanted to take things. But I think I did things at a pace that I was comfortable with and made sense to me. So I'd say patient. Timing is everything.
Timing. See, you guys see, literally, if you're listening to this interview right now, there are so many nuggets that you've dropped, so many quotables. And when we're dropping this on YouTube, I know that I'm just going to be having fun with all the quotables. But yes, can you just give us any sneak peek into any upcoming projects or anything that is
I would get in trouble.
that is that's cooking in the kitchen.
Okay, well, first of all, the video for Faaji
okay
is almost done. So that's on the way before the end of the year. I'll say that.
And Sute is in it.
And Sute is in it.
Okay.
Thank God we made that happen. And it was a time crunch. We just made it happen. The other thing, what else am I gonna say? I'm working. I won't say the artist's name, but I'm working on a joint project with one of our faves in this alter scene, if you will. But one of my favorite artists in this scene. We're working on a joint project that I'm very excited about, and we did the same thing with this song. We did a lot of it remotely. I would send him like 10 beats. Next week he'll send me back 4 songs, and then I'll send him 3 more and add some verses and hooks here and there. He'll send me back 6 more, and we're just going back and forth like that. He's also a lawyer. He's also a pianist, also a producer, also a rapper, also a singer.
Wow.
And that telepathy you can have with artists where you don't have to explain or discuss too much. You just know. Yeah, let me not say any more than that. But that's coming in the spring, hopefully. But as soon as possible, honestly. But
okay.
Yeah.
You've given us. I think if you IYKYK, the people that are outside are listening, can get a few. They can probably grab or
put
get
2 and 2 together.
Together. Who it is. But anyways, my final question: if Faaji were a dish, a Nigerian dish, if Faaji were a Nigerian dish, what would it be? Oh my gosh.
If it were a dish.
Yes, if it were a Nigerian dish, precisely. What would Faaji be?
You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say pounded yam, but with egusi, with all the different. Egusi is not a simple pea. Like there's a lot you get. There's a lot going on inside, but that's me. I'm not an okra guy. Sorry, no vex. I give them jollof. But
okay.
That poundo and egusi, it's an identifiable organized chaos.
Identifiable organized chaos for mature minds only. Anyways, DAP, please let everyone know where they can find you, listen to your music, connect with you on social media.
Yes, it's Adapt the Contract, DAP the Contract on all social media, all streaming platforms. Check me out wherever. Hit me up. Tell me how you feel about the song. I love hearing how people are feeling about everything I put out. Helps me kind of redirect and more information to use going forward. So I appreciate the conversation. But Adapt the Contract, DAP the Contract everywhere.
Yeah, so you heard it here from the man himself. This one is DAP the Contract with Sute Iwa and it's titled Faaji. It's brand new. Make sure you keep it locked. And remember, every other beat is a counter beat.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. And also, don't forget to check out all the other content on the other shows on the Beat 99.9 FM.